Letting go of someone who doesn't value you is one of the most profound lessons you can learn in life. It's not just about walking away from someone, it's about confronting an internal process that tests your self-love, your self-esteem, and your ability to connect with yourself on a deeper level. Carl Jung taught us that the relationships we maintain are not mere coincidences. Rather, they are reflections of our inner world. The people we choose, the dynamics we repeat, and the emotions they trigger within us are all part of an unconscious dance between our conscious self and the hidden aspects of our psyche. When we remain in a relationship where we are not valued, it is not just the other person who is hurting us. On some level, we are the ones perpetuating that cycle. Jung would call this a manifestation of the shadow, the part of us that we prefer to ignore, but that remains present in every aspect of our lives. The shadow contains all our fears, wounds, and limiting beliefs that we have suppressed since childhood. And often, the lack of recognition in a relationship is merely a projection of the lack of recognition we give ourselves. Have you ever asked yourself why you remain attached to someone who doesn't reciprocate your feelings in the same way? Why is it so difficult to let go? Why does a part of you still cling to the hope that everything will change? For Jung, these situations are not random, they are revealing. You are not fighting for the love of another person. You are fighting against the story you have told yourself about what you deserve and how love should work. And until you confront that story, you will continue to attract the same experiences over and over again. The key to freeing yourself does not lie in the other person. It lies within you. It is not about making the other person change or waiting for a recognition that will never come. It is about looking inward and discovering which part of your psyche is sustaining that relationship. Perhaps it is your inner child, still longing to be seen, heard, and loved. Perhaps it is a pattern you learned in your home, where love was always conditional or had to be earned. Or maybe it is a deeper belief about the fear of loneliness, the voice inside you that whispers that without this person, something in you will feel empty. But here's the truth. The only way to find true love is to start with yourself. Jung said that individuation, the process of becoming our most complete and authentic selves, is only possible when we integrate our shadows and face what we have been avoiding. And often, letting go of someone who doesn't value you is the first step in doing so. When you decide to let go, you are not losing something valuable. You are reclaiming something that was always yours, your personal power. Clinging to someone who doesn't appreciate you is, at its core, a way of giving away your energy, of allowing your well-being to depend on external factors. But the moment you say, enough, the moment you choose to walk away from what does not nourish you, something shifts inside you. It is as if the universe responds to your decision with new opportunities, new relationships, and a renewed vision of yourself. The process of letting go is not easy. Jung reminds us that the unconscious clings to what is familiar, even when it hurts us. We get used to patterns of suffering because, at the very least, they are predictable. But that is where the challenge lies, breaking free from what is known to open yourself to the unknown. It is a leap into the void, but a void that does not mean absence, but rather possibility. And this is where true transformation begins, because when you release what does not value you, when you let go of what does not resonate with you, you begin to attract what does. Not because the universe magically rewards you for making the right decision, but because your energy shifts. The way you interact with the world changes. You no longer settle for scraps of love because you have discovered that within you lies an inexhaustible well of self-love. Jung said that projection is one of the most common ways the unconscious expresses itself. What we see in others, what hurts us, what obsesses us, is nothing more than a reflection of something we carry within ourselves. So when someone does not value us, instead of focusing on them, we should ask ourselves, in what way have I not valued myself? Where have I ignored my own needs? In what aspects of my life have I settled for less than I deserve? These questions may be uncomfortable, but they are necessary, because real change does not happen when someone else decides to treat us better. It happens when we decide to raise our standards. And when that happens, when we truly integrate that lesson, we stop attracting relationships that diminish us, because the external world is always a reflection of the internal world. Life is not about convincing someone to value you. It is about surrounding yourself with people who already do. But for that to happen, you must first be the one who values yourself. Not from the ego, not from arrogance, but from a deep connection with who you truly are. When you see yourself with love and respect, others notice. And those who don't, they simply lose their place in your life. The act of letting go is not a punishment or a defeat. It is an act of self-love. It is telling yourself, I deserve more. And when you truly believe that, when you feel it in every fiber of your being, the entire universe aligns to show it to you. When you decide to let go of someone who does not value you, a part of you may resist, not because you genuinely want to keep suffering, but because your mind is programmed to avoid change. But the truth is, the greatest growth comes when we embrace the unknown. So ask yourself, are you ready to reclaim your worth? Are you ready to break free from cycles that no longer serve you? Because the moment you do, you step into the life you were always meant to live. Letting go is not the end. It is the beginning of everything. Carl Jung once said that the human psyche seeks balance and stability, even when that stability involves suffering. This is why so many people remain trapped in toxic relationships for years, because the uncertainty of being alone seems far more terrifying than the pain of staying where they are not valued. But here lies the paradox. What you fear losing the most is often what you most need to let go of. The fear does not stem from the loss itself, but from the deep-seated belief that without that relationship, without that person, something within you will remain incomplete. However, this belief is an illusion. You do not need someone else to complete you, because you are already whole. What you truly need is to remember who you are when you are not trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. The moment you decide to let go, something powerful happens. You are not just making space for something new to enter your life. You are also sending a clear message to your subconscious. You are ready to evolve. Jung believed that the unconscious mind is always trying to communicate with us, but we rarely listen. It sends us signals through dreams, intuition, and sensations. It reveals, time and time again, which relationships drain us, which situations limit us, and which paths do not align with our true essence. Yet, so often, we choose to ignore these signs because facing the truth is uncomfortable. But the truth remains. Love should not be a constant battle. It should not feel like a battlefield where you must endlessly prove your worth or justify why you deserve to be loved. Jung teaches us that true love, conscious love, can only exist between two individuals who have done the inner work to truly know themselves. Otherwise, what we call love is merely a web of projections, dependencies, and wounds disguised as affection. When you remain in a place where you are not valued, you become trapped in an unconscious cycle. A cycle in which your self-esteem is constantly at stake, where you seek validation from someone who will never be able to provide it in the way you need. Not because they are bad or cruel, but because the recognition you seek does not exist outside of you. It is within. It is the part of you that needs to look in the mirror and affirm, "I am enough, exactly as I am." Letting go of someone does not mean you must hate them, wish them harm, or erase everything you shared. It means accepting that the cycle has come to an end, that the relationship served its purpose in your life, and now it is time to move forward. Often, the resistance to letting go stems from the mistaken belief that the time invested in a relationship determines its value. "I have been with this person for so many years. I cannot simply walk away." But time is not a measure of quality. You can spend decades in a relationship that stifles your growth, and you can meet someone in just a few months who transforms your entire life. The true value of a relationship is not in its duration, but in what it contributes to your evolution. Jung spoke of the process of individuation as the journey toward wholeness. This process requires us to integrate our shadows, confront our fears, and release everything that does not align with our true essence. And on this journey, letting go is inevitable, because you cannot become who you are meant to be if you are still clinging to who you once were. The ego will try to convince you that letting go means losing, that if you walk away, you are failing. But your soul knows the truth. Letting go is making space for something greater. When you release those who do not value you, you give yourself the chance to attract people who will. More importantly, you give yourself the opportunity to value yourself, without depending on external validation. Many people hold on because they believe that if they just try harder, if they just love more, if they are just more patient, the other person will change. But Jung reminds us that we cannot change anyone who does not want to change. Growth is an individual journey, and every person has their own timeline. If someone does not value you today, you cannot expect them to do so tomorrow just because you wish it. The only thing you can control is how much longer you are willing to wait for something that may never happen. This is where many people face their greatest internal struggle. They know they need to let go, but something inside them still waits for a sign, a gesture, a promise that things will improve. But time does not change people. Only the decision to change does. And if, after all this time, the dynamic remains the same, it is because a pattern has been established, one that is unlikely to be broken. The most powerful thing you can do for yourself is to make the decision to walk away without expecting anything in return, not to provoke a reaction from the other person, not to make them realize what they have lost, but because you understand that you deserve better. Because when you choose yourself, you emit a different frequency into the world, and that frequency attracts people and situations that resonate with your newfound energy. But here is where most people stumble. Letting go is not an instant act. It is not a switch you flip to suddenly stop feeling. It is a process, a mourning period, an internal reconstruction, where every day you must consciously choose yourself over and over again. There will be days when nostalgia creeps in, when your mind plays tricks on you, only recalling the good moments. There will be nights when you wonder if you made the right decision. And it is in these moments that you must remind yourself why you began this journey in the first place. Self-love is not built in a single day. It is a daily practice. It is the choice to not settle. It is the courage to look at yourself in the mirror and recognize that you are worthy of love. Not because you prove it, not because you beg for it, but simply because you exist. Jung taught us that self-awareness is the key to true freedom. And freedom is not just about doing whatever you want. It is about having the power to choose who and what belongs in your life. Every person who enters your life is a mirror, reflecting something back to you. If someone does not value you, instead of seeing it as an injustice, view it as a lesson. What is this experience trying to teach you? What part of yourself needs to grow stronger? Where have you been compromising your essence just to fit into a narrative that no longer serves you? Letting go does not mean forgetting or denying what you felt. It means accepting reality with courage. It means closing a door with gratitude, without resentment, but with the determination to never reopen it out of fear or weakness. Because true love, the kind Jung described as a connection between authentic souls, can only exist between two people who are already whole within themselves. And if someone cannot see you for who you truly are, then they are not meant to walk this path with you at this moment. You have a choice. You can keep waiting, postponing the inevitable, prolonging the pain, or you can decide that today is the day you begin to let go. Not to prove anything to anyone, but for yourself, because your well-being, your peace, and your self-love are worth more than any relationship that makes you question your worth. Remember this: every time you release something that does not value you, the universe rewards you with something better. Not because the universe works like magic, but because when you shift your energy, you change the way you interact with the world. And when you vibrate from a place of self-love, you attract experiences that reflect that energy. If letting go feels painful right now, if it seems impossible, I want you to remember this. Pain is temporary, but the transformation that follows is eternal. And one day, when you look back and see how much you have grown, you will realize that letting go was never a loss. It was the best decision you ever made. When you choose to let go, the true challenge is not in the action itself, but in the internal resistance that follows. It is that voice in your mind that tries to convince you that maybe you could have done more, that perhaps you did not give everything you had to give, that if you had acted differently, the other person might have valued you. But that is merely a trick of the unconscious, a way to keep you bound to a cycle that no longer serves you. Carl Jung teaches us that clinging to what does not value us is nothing more than a manifestation of our shadow, the part of us that fears facing loneliness, emptiness, and uncertainty. The ego craves answers, wants to close cycles with explanations that make sense of what happened. But the reality is that you will not always receive an apology, nor will you always get closure. More often than not, true closure does not come from the other person. It comes from within you. You do not need someone else to validate your pain, to know that it was real. You do not need someone else to recognize your worth, to know that you are valuable. Everything you seek outside is already within you, waiting to be discovered. The process of letting go is not linear. There will be days when you feel at peace, confident in your decision. But there will also be moments when the past tries to pull you back in. In those moments, your greatest challenge will be to remember why you chose to let go in the first place. Jung tells us that the unconscious operates through patterns and symbols. If you still feel the urge to return to what does not value you, it is because there is a lesson you have not yet integrated. What was it that truly kept you attached to that relationship? Was it genuine love or a need for validation? Was it a real connection or just the fear of being alone? Society has taught us to see solitude as something negative, as if being alone meant being incomplete. But Jung shows us that solitude is a gift, an opportunity to listen to yourself, to embrace yourself, to heal. Because when you step away from the noise, when external distractions no longer keep you tied to dynamics that do not nourish you, that is when you can truly look within and find the answers you have been seeking. Do not fear solitude. Embrace it, because in it, you will find the clarity you have been searching for. Sometimes the problem is not letting go of a person, but letting go of the idea of what we believed that person represented in our lives. We hold on to the image of what could have been, to the good moments, to the unfulfilled promises. But clinging to a story that never was only prevents you from writing a new one. And every time you choose to look back with nostalgia, every time you drown yourself in the what-ifs, you are handing your power over to something that no longer exists. Jung reminds us that transformation happens when we stop resisting change, when we accept that what ended had to end, that what left had to leave, and that our only responsibility is to learn from the experience so that we do not repeat it. Because the real danger of not letting go is not just the pain we prolong. It is the risk of continuing to attract the same type of relationships, the same lessons disguised with different faces. If you do not learn the lesson now, life will present it to you again and again until you are ready to evolve. When you value yourself, you are not afraid to let go, not because it does not hurt, but because you understand that what truly holds value in your life will never make you feel unworthy. True love does not require you to shrink yourself, to adapt, or to become something you are not in order to be accepted. Real love is free, reciprocal, and expansive. And if it is not, then it is not love. It is a reflection of your wounds. This is where self-exploration comes into play. Jung teaches us that self-knowledge is the key to breaking unconscious patterns. Why has it been so hard for you to let go? What part of you still believes it needs to prove its worth? Where did you learn that love must be earned through sacrifice rather than received naturally? These questions might feel uncomfortable, but they are necessary. The more you understand yourself, the easier it becomes to recognize when a relationship is not aligned with your well-being. The key lies in self-observation. Jung spoke of the process of individuation as a journey toward authenticity, and one of the most significant trials in that journey is letting go of those who do not truly value you. Because it's not just about physically distancing yourself from someone, it's about transforming your mindset. It's about reprogramming your unconscious mind so that it stops attracting what does not nourish you. It's about making a conscious choice to surround yourself with people who uplift you instead of exhausting yourself in relationships that exist only out of habit or fear of change. It is normal to feel fear when taking this step. Fear is a defense mechanism of the unconscious, a way to keep you in the familiar, even when the familiar is hurting you. But here's the secret. On the other side of fear lies freedom. On the other side of resistance lies peace. And when you dare to cross that threshold, when you finally choose to release the chains that have kept you bound, you realize that what seemed like a loss was in reality a liberation. Jung spoke of synchronicity as a sign that we are aligned with our purpose. When you release what does not value you, when you let go of what is not meant for you, you begin to notice that things in your life start to flow differently. New opportunities arise. People who truly resonate with your energy begin to enter your life, and what once seemed impossible to overcome becomes just another lesson in your journey of growth. Every time you choose to let go, you create space for something better. But that space will only be filled when you are truly ready, when you have genuinely learned the lesson, when you no longer need to repeat the same story with different characters. Because growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in the discomfort of releasing the old to make way for the new. Look at yourself, right now, in this very moment. You are not the same person you were some time ago. You have grown, you have learned, you have evolved, and everything you have experienced, even the most painful moments, has been part of your transformation. Do not regret what you have been through. Every relationship, every challenge, every fall has led you to this exact moment. And this moment is where a new story begins, a story in which you choose yourself. Letting go means trusting that the universe will not take something away from you without replacing it with something better. It means understanding with absolute certainty that what is truly meant for you will never need to be forced, begged for, or explained. It is realizing that your worth is not determined by how someone else treats you, but by how you decide to treat yourself. So, if there is something or someone in your life that has made you feel small, that has made you doubt your own worth, that has made you question whether you are enough, today is the day you make a different choice. Today, you choose to let go, not out of resentment, not out of bitterness, but out of the deepest love you can give yourself. What lies ahead is far greater than what you leave behind, and the only way to discover it is by taking the first step. Because when you finally release what does not value you, you realize that you were never truly losing someone else. You were rediscovering yourself. Now, you are someone who has understood their own power. You have discovered that the true source of love and validation does not come from outside. It comes from within. And that is one of the greatest revelations you can ever experience in life. Carl Jung taught us that everything we experience in the external world is a reflection of our inner world. If you've spent years attracting relationships where you weren't valued, where love felt like a struggle, where you gave more than you received, it's not because something is broken or wrong with you. It's because a part of you had yet to fully recognize your own worth. But now, that part of you is awakening. Now, you understand that you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Love is not meant to be a battlefield or a sacrifice. Real love is a conscious choice between two people who see and respect each other. The most beautiful part of this process is that when you let go of those who don't value you, you don't just regain your power, you become a magnet for the relationships that truly align with you. You stop wasting time on empty connections. You stop pouring energy into people who aren't ready to appreciate you. Instead, you begin attracting those who truly resonate with who you are. But this only happens when you take the step of choosing yourself, when you close that door with certainty and open yourself to the infinite possibilities waiting for you. From this day forward, every time you feel the temptation to look back, remember why you started this journey. Remember all the pain you endured, all the love you gave, without receiving the same in return, all the times you hoped things would change, but they never did. And most importantly, remember who you are now. Someone who no longer begs for love. Someone who has freed themselves from the weight of a story that no longer belongs to them. Someone who is ready to write a new chapter. One where self-love is the foundation of everything. Jung said that life constantly sends us signs, but it's up to us to interpret them and take action. And this is your sign. If you're hearing this message right now, it's not a coincidence. It's the universe, your subconscious, your inner self, showing you the path you need to take. Don't ignore this opportunity. Don't keep postponing your well-being. Don't let fear keep you stuck in a place where you no longer belong. It's time to move forward. It's time to let go. And now, I want to invite you to do something truly powerful. If this message resonated with you, if it touched something deep inside you, I ask you to share it. There are so many people out there still trapped in relationships that make them feel small, who haven't yet found the strength to let go, who still believe love is something they must earn through suffering. Help me spread this message, because right now, at this very moment, someone out there might need to hear these words to take their first step toward freedom. Leave me a comment below. Tell me which part of this message connected with you. What are you willing to do to prioritize yourself? And if you've already gone through this journey, share your story. It might inspire someone else. You could be the guiding light that leads another person toward their own healing. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the upcoming messages. This space is a place for growth, transformation, and awakening. Together, we are building a community where Carl Jung's knowledge and the wisdom of the subconscious become tools for living a fuller, more authentic life. If this message touched your soul, if you feel this is the beginning of a new chapter for you, share it. Because when something changes us, we have a responsibility to share it with the world. Together, we can help more people awaken, let go, and discover the immense power that has always been within them. Remember, letting go is not losing. Letting go is making space for what you truly deserve. It's choosing yourself again and again until the love you seek outside becomes the love that already exists within you. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for being part of this community. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, change begins with you.